Ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that foul language is prevalent within the following production. Have a nice day.
Welcome back to another episode of the Offenders Podcast. As always, I'm Kyle, joined by my co-host, Evan.
I can't say as always I'm Evan, because I've only been Evan since birth. But anyway, as of right now, I'm still Evan. And to my right, in the passenger seat...
It's me, it's Shane. But I have always been Shane, because I've reincarnated every time into Shane. It's a legacy of Shane.
Now, was this due to extensive study of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, where you maintain your ego through battles with monsters?
That old book, I'm tired of. I wish I never would have wrote that thing. People misquote that all the time.
I knew it the whole time. I always looked at Shane and said, he's an Egyptian. That's an Egyptian if I ever seen one.
What a Shane. What a shame. Oh, man, so it's been a while since we recorded one of these.
I know, man. Seriously, it's been a month?
Oh, it's been longer than that.
Really? When was
the
last one we recorded?
It was sometime in February. It might have been right around Valentine's Day.
God damn.
So, and this is why I know that. So, part of the reason that we haven't recorded one is that for those of you who follow me or know me, I've had on again, off again back problems for like a year. In fact, it's been over a year now, I know. And some of you who've probably met us at a convention might have realized, like, God, this guy's lazy ass. He wants to sit down all the time, and it's partially because of my back.
Partially.
Yeah, the other part is because I'm a lazy ass and I like to sit down. But it's also just because like I can't stand a long time, or I couldn't stand a long time, and like I couldn't like wear backpacks and stuff because it put too much pressure on my back. So, you know, they kind of, when I went to the doctor, at first they thought it was a muscle thing, so they put me through all this kind of physical therapy, and it helped a little bit, but then it would always get worse. And then last year, when I went to PAX at Seattle, is when it got really bad. Like, it no longer was my back, it was my leg and my hip. Oh. Which is weird. When you're sitting there and suddenly it's like, wow, my hip and leg just hurt, like, for no reason. Like, I can't even explain why it does that. Mm-hmm. And so when I went back to the doctor and told him that, that's when I told my physical therapist that, and he's like, you need to go back to the doctor. And he's like, I don't want to say anything because I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but you need to go back to them for them to talk and look at it. I'm like, okay. So I go back to them, and the doctor's like, we might have a nerve problem going on. I was like, okie dokie. And so they sent me to get an MRI and then to a neurosurgeon. And the neurosurgeon's like, yeah, you've got a herniated disc that presses on your nerve. And when it presses on the nerve, it sends all this pain down your leg. So it's really crazy to think about, like, this one little thing in my back can, like, fuck up my whole left leg.
Damn.
So
how did you ever figure out how it happened?
No, I don't know. The doctor said when he had removed a hernia, which is what the surgery was for, that they can look at it and kind of tell like how recent it was based on like the way the hernia is calcified. And he's like yours is fairly. They actually told me after they removed that, he's like, that was the most impressive hernia they'd ever seen. I told him I'm glad because I aim to impress. But he said it had calcified fairly well, which meant that it was probably really old. So if I had to guess, I think it was probably, I hurt my back long time ago when I worked at Barnes & Noble, but it was only like for a day that it really hurt, maybe two, and that might have been when it was. And then over the years, as I've become more active, it's probably exacerbated it, and it's just got worse and worse and worse to the point where like it was like really pushing on a nerve. And when I first went to that neurosurgeon, I was on the upswing, and he was like, well, I don't want to do any surgery because you're healing, just keep being active and do what you're doing. And then 2 weeks later, just literally just sitting in class, I go to stand up, and it's like, holy shit, I can't even stand. It hurts so bad. And so I walked home that day because I didn't drive.
That's pretty badass, man.
Which that was the last time until the surgery that I'd walked to class all the way from my apartment, just because it was It's just too much. Like, it used to be that as time went on over the day, it might hurt more and more and more. But then, like, once I laid down, it'd be okay. This was like the moment I stood up every morning, it was in pain all day long as I was standing or walking. If I sat or laid down, I was okay.
Good morning, sir. I have your pain today. I hope you're ready.
Yeah, it's pretty.
What an asshole butler.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had to have surgery and stuff. They put me under, gave me anesthesia, and they removed the hernia. But see, here's the thing, is the doctor told me initially when he removed the hernia, before he removed it, he was like, 90% of people have relief from this. There's 10% of people that we have to go a little bit further, which would be another surgery or some kind of other thing they have to do. He's like, but I think yours is in the 90%, so you should be good. He's like, and it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks after the surgery before you feel any kind of relief because there's swelling and stuff, because they have to cut through muscle, file down your back, like part of the bone in your back, to get to the disc, and then they have to cut it and remove the herniated part. I mean, it's no joke, but it only takes them 45 minutes, evidently, because it's like this thing they do all the time.
Damn.
Yeah, that's fucked up to imagine that, like, we're going to do this major, I call it major, but it's an outpatient procedure. I went home the same day, but we're going to put you under, slice your back open, cut through the muscle, file down the fucking bone to get to the disc, slice it open, pull this piece off, and then just sew you back up and throw you on a bed in 45 minutes.
You got butchered.
Yeah, that's like German efficiency right there. I mean, I will say my daughter's last name was German, so maybe he's faster than everyone else.
See, he's not finer than the German knives.
But so the thing is that I get back to the recovery room afterward, and have either of you ever been put under for anesthesia for surgery?
Nope.
Okay, so the first thing before you go in, they'll have this like a week before they have a pre-op base, and sometimes like I needed to get x-rays and stuff and some other things, but they get to ask you a series of questions and do some blood work. And one of the questions they ask is, have you ever been put under before, and if you have, were there complications? Because the anesthesiologist needs to know, because if there is, he might not be able to use a certain type of anesthesia, or he might need to prepare for it. And I was like, no. And they were like, all right, don't eat 12 hours beforehand. I was like, okay. And I was like, why? And they're like, because some people have severe nausea, and we don't need you throwing up when there's a tube down your throat. Like, that causes another problem. Okay. Well, I woke up and I was just really groggy, and I get back to the recovery room, and your mouth's dry and it's super sore. Like, that was the worst part. I had a sore throat afterwards before they had to remove the tube they put in my throat. But they start giving you ice chips to suck on to kind of hydrate and get your mouth so dried out. But I was so thirsty, I'm like, fuck it, just give me the water. And so my friend who was there, she helped me drink some water. And they're like, you need to eat some crackers or something because your stomach's empty, but we want to give you your pain meds that you're going to be taking for the next several days here so we can kind of get you situated. I'm like, okay. Drinking the water, I put part of a graham cracker in my mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never been this nauseous in my whole life. And I've been hungover a lot. I was like, oh shit. And they were like, are you nauseous? I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, let's see. So they bring me this really cool looking barf bag. It's like a little tube. And you push it out, and then it's like this huge fucking bag. Like I'm about to vomit 10 gallons of food into it or something. Which my stomach is empty. So I start to kind of throw up, and it's just a little bit.
Your stomach's like, boys, it's time to party. You see this fucking shindig they've got for us?
All aboard, motherfucker.
Yeah. Let's go!
Yeah. So I throw up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't drink the water. So I start doing the ice chips again, and I just touch a cracker, and it's like, no, don't you fucking think about it. And then at that point, there's nothing in my stomach, not even the part of the cracker or the water. So I then begin to heave just bile, which is the worst fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, it sucks.
And my back is and the other thing is I've just had my back sliced open. So imagine kind of convulsing and laying in a bed and heaving into a bag. So it sucked.
Oh man.
So the two nurses were just one of them was the sweetest old little black lady. She's like, oh honey, I'm so sorry for you. We're just going to give you something for anti-nausea. Why'd you wait to this point? Why'd you just give me that to begin with? If it's a common thing that people come out of this nauseous, why don't you just give it to them and fucking cut it out?
And if you would have said that sweet little black lady's like, now you listen here, motherfucker. We didn't know you was one of them little bitch ass white boys.
We didn't know you was a fuck boy.
Hey, let me get one of the little bitch ass pills for the bitch ass white boy. And That's what would happen.
Oh man, but so yeah, after they gave me that, I felt fine. In fact, afterwards, when we left, I was so hungry. We went to this hamburger place, and my friend went in and got the hamburgers to go. I came back here and ate like this greasy ass French fries, and then promptly passed the fuck out from the pain meds.
Or the French fries.
Yes.
Maybe both. But so the thing is that when I stood up in recovery, I immediately had relief. All the pain was gone. The only pain I had was from where they had cut my back. And it's one of those things when it happened, like I've lived with this pain for over a year now, and to suddenly stand up and it be gone, I just almost started crying, just like, holy shit, it's not there. And I told the nurse, and she said, oh wow, like she was even surprised. And in this over about the next week, I got to the point where I could actually walk and move around, because initially, like, I was waddling like the fucking penguin. I don't know if you remember, Shane, Ryan had made that shillelagh for me years ago.
Yes.
I had my friend find it. That's what I was using to walk around with. I was using it as a cane because I still had it. But it took me like 10 to 15 minutes to get out of bed every time, too, because I'd have to kind of scooch over to the edge and scooch over and scooch over, and I couldn't move too far, and I'd be afraid I was going to pull the incision. But yeah, man, within 2 weeks, I was good to go. I was walking to class. And like when I saw the doctor at post-op about a week ago, he was like, yeah, you should be good to go back to the gym and start doing stuff. Just still kind of be light on the weights and careful bending. But he was like, some people do have instant relief like I did. He's like, but it's not common. It's very uncommon for that to happen. He's like, so you're pretty lucky. He's like, I'll give myself an A+ on that surgery. I was like, me too.
So let me ask you a quick question here.
All right.
In modern society, apparently everybody gets post-traumatic stress disorder. It used to just be people who almost died in terrifying situations where it's understandable. But now, like, you can lose your glasses and the doctor will tell you have post-traumatic stress disorder. So, my question is, when you're walking through the grocery store and you pass the honey-made graham crackers, do you have a moment where you go, oh my God?
No, I don't. Because I'm not a bitch ass.
Yes! Congratulations, you're not a pussy.
No, not at all.
People need to stop using words like
PTSD.
whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Little bitch syndrome.
LPS.
Because they don't really have post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yep.
They have the little bitch syndrome. That's
Yes.
what they have.
A lot of people have that.
So, I've been listening to this rap group called Run the Jewels. In fact, I'm going to a concert for them tonight. And there's this one term that one of the guys in it, named Killer Mike, uses a lot, and I think it's the best way to describe this type of people. It's fuckboy. It's a person who's a weak-ass pussy that ain't bout shit. That's what that means. So these people need to stop being fuckboys. Get over it.
That sounds like a prison term to me.
It does sound like a
This is fuckboy with a space. The other way is a bad term. If you don't put a space in there, it means something different. I think I'm
Now-
Urban Dictionarying it now.
Is a hyphen? Is the hyphen
It's
what
just
we need?
fuck space boy.
Oh.
No,
Because that could
actually-
be...
No, I'm wrong. There are other meanings for it though, but they all kind of go back to somebody being a bitch.
Because my second question was, if it didn't originate in prison, was it the Catholic Church?
Maybe so.
Mm.
It has several different meanings, but the top meaning, the most common one, is a person who's a weak ass pussy that ain't about shit.
You should just make... What is it called when you take the first letter of everything?
Acronym.
Yeah,
You should
sure.
make an acronym of that. A weak-ass person who ain't about shit. Fuck, that's going to be hard to say. I give up.
Yeah, there's
I think I better just
Eight.
go with fuckboy.
Help him, he's having a stroke!
or drunk, or both.
Yes.
Just you talking about that now reminds me of here. So here's the thing. I notice I have this thing. You always where you associate something with it because it's where you first see it, and you see the feeling, and you always associate it with that. Mm-hmm. So I have that because I've talked about reading fan fiction before, and at the beginning of the story that I was going to read, it had trigger warning. Now the first thing when I saw trigger warning, I'm like, I'm going to hate this fucking person and
trigger
everything
me.
they do in their entire life.
Don't trigger me, bro.
Because every time someone says something about trigger warning, they usually follow it with like this long spiel of fucking shit that makes me want to set them on fire.
Because people get offended.
If you just put a warning like, this is the stuff that's in here. But when I see trigger, I'm just associated with that type of person. Now, I read it anyway, and it wasn't that bad, but it just struck me that gets into your head because that's where you saw it from. And every time I saw trigger warning, it was always something stupid afterwards. But this one was just not good enough for me to read. But when I think of trigger warnings and stuff like that, I think about people who say that they have post-traumatic stress disorder over the fucking littlest thing in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's one thing to be like, I was in Afghanistan for a year and saw fire. I have PTSD. I bet you do. I don't doubt that you do. That's totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I work at a high stress job and I have PTSD. No, you're just stressed.
Yes.
You need to relax and just let shit go. Like I told somebody that before. It's like people, talk about being stressed and stuff. And I mean, I worked in a high stress job. Well, for a high stress company might be a better way of putting it. I didn't think the job was that stressful, but the company made it bad. And then being a graduate student was pretty stressful, especially my first year. I was like straight fucking stressed all the fucking time. But at any point, I came up with a mentality, and I've told other people this. You just need to adopt this mentality. Fuck it. I mean, it's going to happen. That's the way you got to handle things. It's like you could go in there and stress out about getting like the best grades and doing the best that you're going to do, but you know what it's going to do in the end? It's going to get you to the next level, just like doing okay would do. So fuck it. Don't stress yourself. Do what you got to do. Don't do any more.
Time spent complaining is time wasted learning.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can just sit there and just be like, this is terrible. I hate my job. I hate my life. Shut the fuck up and just get it over with.
First off, it's a job. You're supposed to hate it. If it was fun, everybody would want to do it.
Not all of us can work for Google, where we fucking take ping pong breaks and sleep in our goddamn fluffy pillow pods or whatever the fuck.
I mean, they have stuff like that, yeah.
It's like they have this first class airline goddamn little pod that's a chair that turns into a full bed, and there's like a TV built into it, and you have a refrigerator underneath you. It's like the most perfect place that you could be.
Oh man, that's great.
Oh. So anyway, back to your bat. Back to your story.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, I'm almost 100% now. Like, the only thing is I still have to be really careful lifting. Like, afterwards, they're like, you can't lift anything over 10 pounds for 4 weeks, which that's really difficult if you think about it. There's a lot of things that are over 10 pounds that you wouldn't realize are over 10 pounds until you start to try to move them, and your body says, what the fuck are you doing?
How am I going to piss, man?
Yeah.
How am I going to piss?
Dude, this would be a perfect time. Since it's still April, you could say it was April Fool's. Get yourself a gigantic white plantation hat and a white coat. Take the shillelagh, and everywhere you go, be like, boy, you please get me that cereal off the shelf, boy.
I need to also like just have like a spritzer bottle and keep myself constantly looking like I'm sweating, and just have like a handkerchief I carry, and I'm constantly dabbing myself. I'm getting the vapors in here. I need a mint julep if you could possibly make one for me right now.
I'll walk up and be like, Mr. Belvedere, you having your spells again?
Oh, man.
That would have been fantastic.
Really, the only.
And then you had to put a trigger warning on.
Yeah, I would. The only lifting problem I had was actually laundry, and that's just because I tend to do a weight and do a lot at once. And I don't have a washer dryer yet. Not until I move, please. It needs to hurry up faster because I'm so tired of the fucking laundromat. Different story. Anyways, so I have to carry a big ass bag of laundry to the laundromat. So I had to actually sometimes take two loads rather than just one in one giant bag. But that was the only thing. Because for the first week, I had a friend stay with me, which was helpful because I know somebody else who had the exact same procedure I did. She didn't have anybody stay with her. And she said it was a struggle. She had to find people to come do stuff for her all the time. So I was lucky to have somebody who could come stay with me for a week to make sure I got situated and able to start moving. But
that is pretty awesome.
Yeah. But, yep, that's kind of part of the reason because that happened. That was basically 5 weeks ago. It was the last week in February that happened. And I think we didn't record the week before that because I was busy working on school stuff. So it's been almost 2 months, I think, since the last episode.
Well, the reason I haven't been here was because I was actually in Indiana as part of the Insensitive Straight Man's Pizza Club, eating all the pizza that the gay people couldn't eat.
Yeah. I think that's why. I think we did try to record right beforehand, but you were out of town, and then we tried to record. We were going to record like last week or something, and you had to work.
Yeah, I really did go to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. They had nice weather. But yes.
That's probably the only nice thing they probably had.
Yeah.
But you also went before the law, right?
Say what?
You also went before they passed this law, right?
Yeah, so there was still
otherwise they wouldn't let this faggot ass in.
Faggot ass.
You faggot ass in there,
Look like a bundle of sticks. What you is, a cigarette?
Oh, man.
Like, you can see... Okay, side story. You can see how a cigarette can be correlated with the word faggot. Because a faggot is a bundle of sticks that you burn.
Yeah.
A cigarette is something that you burn. How the fuck does a man sticking his penis in another man's booty hole?
Well, I bet that burns.
Yes.
It's from the actual first meaning of the word, because they used to burn them.
Oh!
Using bundles of sticks.
Man, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I thought you were going to be like, well, it comes from the first meaning where they were faggots and they like men.
No, that's actually where it's... Well, at least I heard that's where it's from. It does make sense.
Yes. But that's thankfully that stupid law got repealed and now gay people can eat pizza as all people should be able to.
It's not repealed, it's just changed. Basically it does nothing now, but they don't want to repeal it because then they have to admit they were wrong.
It's like a banana. If I can't finish it the first time, I'm not going to repeal it and eat it again.
Well, I think it's not necessarily that they were wrong, but that what the law actually was intended to do. Because they still hold that it wasn't intended to basically...
Oh, yeah.
Which is bullshit and wrong.
It's like, all right, well, have a seat. What's this? It's a recliner. Why has it got straps and all the wires going to the power outlet of it? Is this an electric chair you're trying to kill? Oh, no, it's not for killing people. Just have a seat, and we're just going to flip this switch. No, I don't think so. Well, okay, we'll change it. We'll unhook it from the wall. So now it's sitting there with the straps and a lot of the metal thing and all this stuff, but it's not plugged in anymore. It's like, I still know this was an electric chair. I don't know why you keep bringing this up. No, it wasn't.
No, or better yet, it's like, they sit him down, and it's like, this is an electric chair. Why are you putting this towel over my face? And then he takes the towel off. It's like, oh, waterboarding. I thought we were going boogie boarding. You fool. Now enjoy some more drowning simulation.
Fucking politicians, man. Seeing that guy try to answer those questions. They asked him, it's like, so can the law be used to discriminate against people? That's not what we're talking about. If I would have been that reporter, it's like, it's what I'm talking about. I asked the fucking question. I know what I'm asking.
We need to have, fully trained martial artist, hardball Chris Matthews, whatever his name was, CNN, where you just ask the hard questions all the time, and then if they try to balk at you, you put them in an armbar. Tell us the truth, goddammit! Ow, ow, uncle!
I know something like that happened in Georgia when they were basically talking about one of these laws, and somebody basically, one of the guys who was against it, started questioning it I'm trying to remember. He basically led the guy into a point where it's like the guy either had to admit that the law was being created to discriminate or that the law was useless. And I think the guy ended up just going, the law was useless. And so they ended up just being like, it got shelved to never go anywhere.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he basically just backed him into a corner. Basically what happens when a smart person's talking to an idiot. And he gets backed into a fucking corner and he's like, you can either admit that you're wrong or admit that you're an idiot. I'll just admit that I was wrong. That's what I thought. So,
but back to the original point, the reason we have it recorded for me is because I've been having to do a lot of overtime and stuff to pick up shifts because we lost somebody, and we're just now getting a new person at my job, so it's been slacking off. So I only have to work one weekend out of the month. And speaking of work, I'd like to tell a story. It's story time, Devin Jones. So, grab yourself a nice cold coffee. Get in an easy chair, a lazy boy, if you will, and eat some cookies, because you're going to be here for a minute. At my job, we work in a cubicle farm. For those of you who don't know what that is...
That's where they grow cubicles, otherwise there wouldn't be any cubes.
And those cubicles go on and become energized and power the transformers.
Nice.
But no, it's a row of small cubicles, and you just go there and you sit there. So it's like probably 15 to 20 people on one side and 15 to 20 people on the other side, separated by small metal fabric-covered walls. So pretty much you hear everything that everybody is doing all the time. And to counter that, I like to wear headphones because, number one, I get to listen to podcasts and books and music, and number two, I don't hear something that I'll accidentally say something smart-ass to and get put into HR.
Yeah, which basically, for those who don't know, getting put into HR is basically when a fuckboy hears something, and they don't know that you're joking, so they take it the wrong way, and they got to go tattle to mommy and daddy in HR, and then they take you and put you in the corner and talk to you about it.
Yes. Which happens.
Now I'm just imagining. Could you imagine if the HR people just came in there and it's like they take you to the side and they're like, "Now, Evan, we've talked about this before. This place is full of little bitches, and you gotta watch your tone, or they're gonna come crying to me. Then I gotta hear that shit.
That's basically
I don't want to hear it.
That's what they do, but with a little bit more PR. They're a little bit more like. Now, some people are really sensitive to what people say, even if it's not something that bad, so you just need to be careful about that. Why don't you go talk to them about being bitches?
I got taken to HR because a girl hugged me too much.
Wait,
and it made somebody
the girl hugged
angry.
you too much?
No, somebody saw a girl hugging me and it made them uncomfortable. Can you believe that?
That's the gay agenda. It is for real.
It is the gay agenda.
What are these? What's
Indianapolis politicians, help!
No, that's someone who's just jealous because they wanted them to hug her, but they were probably fucking creepers, and she was like, "I'm not touching that weirdo."
It was an old religious woman, so
that's blaming the victim too.
Oh.
You're the one that got hugged.
Yeah,
You
that
didn't
really
do anything.
This is a victimless crime as far as I'm concerned. Because that just charged up my meter.
Your response to HR, there should be like, "Oh my God, I'm glad they didn't see us fucking in the bathroom." Then they were really awkward. You just didn't get the response the HR person would have given you.
Oh my God!
Just like wheeled back, like wind blowing their hair back as you say it, like complete shock.
It would have been like an anime where they get blown through like 7 different walls in a giant building.
The other thing too about HR is that, like, the story I always hear is that people who couldn't do any other job got sent to HR, so they're usually just like complete and utter fuck ups.
That being said, I like to consider myself a very smart person who is good at acting dumb, so I want to figure out how to act that way efficiently enough and effectively enough to get put into HR so I don't have to do anything all day long. And working at the company that I have for long enough, I've come up with a fake vocabulary to replace my real vocabulary so I can actually speak HR language.
Yeah, you kind of got to do that.
So,
I always say this when it comes up. That actually kind of infuriates me. It's fine if you're not doing it for real. If you just talk in that fucking fake talk that people do, that no one ever talks that way. But I hate when people talk to me. I wish people would just talk to me.
yeah, it would be great if you could just be like, "Goddamn motherfucker, I can't
Not
believe
even
that
that.
piece of shit.
Not
That
even that.
motherfucker."
Just instead of being like, "Hello, sir, I'm here to help you. My entire life is about helping you." It's like, "Hey, can I help you with something?" Just do that.
Yeah.
Don't do the other thing. Stop it.
And you never do something wrong. You got a fucking opportunity. It's like, and here are the opportunities that we have. An opportunity is when you're standing at a doorway and there's a bear in the other room that you can wrestle for $1 million. That's an opportunity to die like a man or become a rich man. If you fuck up on a phone call, you fuck up on a phone call. But I digress. I've gotten further away from the point. So,
I have an HR story, but go ahead. I'll tell it later.
dude, just tell it now. Let's go ahead and hear it. I want to hear an HR story.
I don't know if I've told this on here, but so one time when I worked at this place, I was not even in this fucking conversation. I was an innocent bystander sitting there, and I happened to have my headphones in, but they weren't on, so I could hear what was being talked about. And there's this one guy this guy was funny. He just talked shit and stuff about that, but a lot of it was self-deprecating humor. Like, he was a fat dude. Yeah. And I don't know the conversation, I don't remember what happened, but he said something like, "If I controlled my own island, I wouldn't let any fat people on because we're horrible." That's all he said. Joking. Because he's talking about himself, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, probably about 75% of the people that work at this place are fat. Because you just sit on your ass all day, and there's always food and candy and stuff, so it just happens. I mean, there's a reason they talk about the spread. You sit down and spread out.
There? I mean,
yeah. So I don't think anything ever of it again. And then a week later, I get called into the manager's office, and it's like there's a conversation that's going a couple days ago that some people got offended about. Okay, well, what was it? And he was like, well, that's why I wanted to ask you. I'm like, was I the one that said something? Because I do say things from time to time. I remember that. But I usually waited until, like, the old ladies were off because they all left at, like, noon. And he was like, no. I was like, well, then why am I being brought in here? He's like, because you were one of the people there who wasn't necessarily involved in it, but you were nearby, which because I sat by the guy, and I laughed when he said that. And so he basically ended up telling me what it was, and I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, he was talking about himself. I was like, he wasn't calling anybody out. Well, some people were offended by that. We don't need to kind of have those kind of conversations around here, blah, 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 blah. And he just went this whole conversation about how we just need to sit there and shut the fuck up and talk and not talk and just do our work. I was like, well, since we're talking about things that offend people, I want to talk about what people have in their cubicles that offends me. And he says, oh, okay, such as, I'm like, all the Bible scriptures and the pictures of Jesus. I'm an atheist, and I find it offensive that they come in here and preach to me when I don't need them to. And I was like, and I haven't gone to HR about it, but I was like, but since we're bringing up things that we need to go to HR about, I mean, I might need to go. He's like, don't worry. Next day, people had to take shit down. And he said, no talking about any of that stuff either. Now, people got pissed when they were told not to talk about that.
Wow.
But they didn't do anything.
Well,
now, I don't know how long that lasted because I didn't really pay attention, but...
I'll give him 100 points for consistency.
Yes.
Yeah,
he didn't
give a fuck. He is one of those people that's like, he had been working there so long and he was never going anywhere else that he pretty much just given up on life. So he
Which
just,
makes him an excellent executor.
Yeah. Fucking
That's
HR.
the thing. People getting fucking offended by shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
all
oh
of
my God,
America.
that guy talking about himself has offended me.
Because I'm fat.
Here's the
That's
other
what it
thing.
was. I know who it was too, I'm pretty sure, but...
Here's the other thing with that. It makes for a bad work environment because people are offended and they're upset. Well, if I'm just sitting here minding my own goddamn business, and I get called from what I'm doing and complained to about what somebody else was talking about, well, now I'm offended.
Mm-hmm.
So now you fucked with me. So now you've got to go get them in trouble. But they're going to be mad because they got in trouble. So now you got to come back to me. And it's just going to bounce back and forth forever.
And see, that guy was not the kind of guy to call out about stuff like that, because then the running joke was he'd start talking like, oh, I better be quiet because somebody might be offended by something I'm saying. And you say as loud as he could and just look like literally stop working, turn around in his chair and say that as he just like spun around slowly, looking everybody in the department and then go back. Like, he didn't know who it was, but he was letting every motherfucker know that he wasn't happy about it. You know, that's just the way he would be.
That's great.
No shame.
I just want everybody to know that earlier, I wasn't talking about anybody here, but from now on, I am.
Yeah.
Pretty much. All right, Evan. So,
Oh, yeah. So, now that you have an idea of the place that I work at, and the hell with it.
all these stories are from the same place, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. It's actually my karmic penance from my last life, I suppose. So, we got this new person in the area on the other end, because like half of the cubicle farm area is for my department, the other half is for another department. And a couple of my friends are in the other department, they're at the end, so we talk and stuff. And directly behind one of my friends on the other side of the cubicle wall, if you could mix together, you guys have seen Shaun of the Dead, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mix together Nick Frost and Kathy Bates.
Jesus.
That's what this woman looks like.
Wow. Does she carry around like a sledgehammer with a board where she's going to like hobble you like Kathy Bates did in Misery?
Metaphorically speaking, yes. Because I don't know what her fucking name is, but I know what I'm calling her. Her name is Tiffany Tukoff.
Tiffany?
Why do you call her Tiffany Tukoff? Because approximately every 45 seconds, you hear...
Does she have emphysema?
I want you all to suffer like I do. I have straight up seen this woman walk down the aisle and cough spit shit out of her face.
Ugh.
Catch it in her hand and wipe it away.
Probably does have emphysema or something.
She's too young. She doesn't smoke cigarettes. So, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, maybe she's got a chest cold. It's slightly annoying, but everybody's slightly annoying when they have a chest cold, but they can't help it.
Yeah.
So, I make a post on Facebook about it, and one of the coworkers whom I previously mentioned read it and stopped me the next day at work and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I've been thinking the same thing. Tiffany Tukoff is ruining my life." And here's the thing. Tiffany Tukoff.
She's ruining my life. Not just she's annoying. It's like at this moment, she's triggering me, man. She's fucking triggering me.
I've been triggered. I've been on a downhill spiral. I've got post-traumatic stress disorder of coughers. Anybody who coughs. So she says, this person worked with one of my friends in another department. And this isn't a new cough. This cough has got fucking tenure. This cough is in it for the long run. She's been doing this the whole time. And apparently the day before, somebody turned to her and said, "Are you okay?" Which is a valid question when somebody coughs 7,000 times. So the lady says, "Yeah, I'm fine." And the other person says, "Because you've been coughing a lot." And she says, "Yeah, I should probably go to a doctor and get that checked out." Which she didn't. So
Maybe it's just tuberculosis.
No, because she'd be dead by now.
Or consumption, which I think was tuberculosis.
I think so.
Consumption is when you eat stuff. You guys are both wrong. So, at various points during the day, myself and the other two coworkers, when we accidentally take our headphones out to go pee, or on purpose we have to take our headphones out, or if there's a pause in the podcast that we're listening to and there's silence, we hear that. We'll make eye contact. And it's that eye contact. It's of that motherfucker.
Oh man, those are the best things is when you work with people in these cube farms, and like I guess you guys have the low cubes where you can actually see over them.
Yep.
Okay, because I worked in one department where like the cubes were high, so like you'd have to stand up, but something would happen, like, and you just see people look up over them cubes at each other, and all you see are the other person's eyes, and you just catch each other's eyes, and you just like it's like. This son of a bitch, or like, oh shit, it's about to go down, or whatever.
And let me attempt to explain this, because this is a podcast, so you can't see my eyes. The exchanged glance is that of Samuel L. Jackson in Black Snake Moan, of that gift that everybody has seen, where he's standing there breathing hard in his wife beater shirt. The three of us are like the Triforce of Samuel L. Jackson's hateful glare. And we just sit there, and every time we hear it. So, this has been going on for about 2 or 3 weeks now. And I'll be goddamned if she hasn't recruited some additional coughers. Because they're fucking growing in number.
Well, that could be
tuberculosis.
So now, it went from to or so on top of it, it's this percussive, rhythmic death march of fucking coughs.
Do the Tiffany Tukoff. Do it.
That's exactly what's happening. So yesterday...
Well, they heard you coughing. They're sending an ambulance.
Exactly! Go to Geico! It's fucking... I mean, I didn't say that. Go to place where... It's fucking pole C7 on the 3rd floor. Take that bitch out of the fucking office. So the point is... I actually work for a company for men. We sell things like, machetes and nudie magazines. GUICO. So, back to the point. That will be edited out. I hope so I don't get fired. But the point is, back to the point. So yesterday...
It's okay.
Nobody listens. The 3 people who listen, please don't tell anybody. Thanks a lot. So, yesterday, I began to break mentally. I began to lose my mind because there was now an entire army. So I sent to the girl who Kyle, whose name starts with a K. I sent her an email that said, "Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the motherfucking Cough Olympics of 2015. And she laughed, because you have to laugh or you're just going to cry and kill people.
That's another great thing, is that when like you can't say stuff, but you email each other and you just hear someone go hee 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 because they read your email. I used to love
that's
that.
a great feeling. So that gave me a laugh, but then a couple minutes later the laugh faded and I was back to misery. So
this is what you need to do. You need to bring a bowl. You need to get a big dish, like a bowl, and just fill it with like those kind of candies that are like lozenges, not like necessarily cough drops, but just things that like those kind of candies you suck on, because then like they cause you to salivate, so you're less likely to cough. And just like put them and say, this is for everybody who may need one of these. And then like whenever somebody starts coughing, like go over, like, I don't know if you know this, but I have a bowl of candy here that you can have one of. I'm gonna leave some for you, and just put a handful on their desk. Like be like forceful, but not like shoving it down their throat quite.
So I'll tell you my plan of action, but I have to tell you the last moment where I had a breakdown and spoke to one of my coworkers about it. So I wheeled myself.
So just like flabbergasted. You can't even fucking speak.
I'm having post-traumatic stress.
I'm triggering.
So I did the Liu Kang Mortal Kombat 3 kick move, which allows me to walk my chair across the floor to another coworker.
I was gonna say, I hope you made the noise when you did it.
In my heart I did, but my mouth was too busy turning into a grimace. So I go over and I said, Margaret, can you help me? And she says, sure. What do you need? Do you need a pen or something? And I said, no, I need you to kill me. Because I'm losing my mind. And I actually legitimately smashed my head into the cube wall. And she said, what's going on? I said, can't you hear it? Tell me you can hear it. I'm not going crazy. She goes, what? I said, hold on. So I hold up 10 fingers. And 10 becomes 9. 9 becomes 8. 8 becomes 7. And she goes, oh my God. I hear it. And I said, thank you. Thank you for hearing
You know what you just did is you ruined her. Because sounds like she might be one of these people that like didn't realize it, but now you've made it something she's going to see or hear. She's never going to not hear it. So you basically just brought somebody else into your fold of insanity.
You know why? Because this is a war, Kyle. This is a cacophony. This is a cacophony of unprecedented extremity. This is the Armageddon of office coffers. So, this is my plan of action. As we had mentioned previously with HR, you have to be very specific in the way that you word things or you get in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do, the only reason I haven't done this is because I don't want to have to put somebody in this position. There's a really nice lady who's her supervisor, so I'm going to have to walk up to this really nice lady and make her do something really uncomfortable. And I'm going to walk up to her and I'm going to say, we've been talking. And she's going to say, who's we? And I'm going to say, I can't release that information. But we've been talking and we've discussed how great it is that we have health care provided by the company. And unfortunately, some of us who choose to work here, who have this health care, neglect it. How do I know this? Well, let me answer that before you ask. I knew you were going to ask. Because I saw that person, to which I will secretly point, but not overwhelmingly so she can see me. I saw that person cough spittle out of her face and catch it in her hand and wipe it off of the rest of her face. Now here, we're supposed to be in a safe workplace. And if I have to worry about disgusting spittle bacteria, then I can't concentrate on being the most effective team player and working to my utmost potential to accelerate myself to the goals to which you have set for me. And neither can anybody else. So please, explain the benefits of the healthcare system. Explain what Robitussin DM is! Explain what are lozenges and how it works. Because if you don't, I am going to turn into a werewolf. And I'm first going to throw the Coke machine out of the window to break the glass, and then I'm going to pick up Tiffany Tukoff and throw her into the woods. And then I'm going to say, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you listening to me. I'm going to go back and have a great day at work.
Now I'm imagining, because you frame it as like, No, you have to do something about this, otherwise it's discrimination. Do not hold my werewolf heritage against me.
Yes!
Because she's displaying her weakness in her disease, and I must attack her as my wolf nature. So please, make her be healthy.
You know how hard it is to maintain the human appearance of a werewolf have 8 hours a day, 5 days a week?
I know it's even worse now, too, because, like, it's true bukkake season, so... Yeah. So I know people, like, are just coughing because they've probably got allergies that are out of control right now, and they can't help that. I don't know what her problem is, but...
It's gotten to the point where I'm ashamed of myself if I feel a tickle in my throat. It's like, don't give in. Don't you fucking cough. Don't you join them. So I'll just swallow extra hard. Be like, take that cough, extra spittle that is not disgusting and infected by what the fuck ever she has.
Man, things I don't miss about working in an office environment.
Let me remind you of some other ones. People clearing their throat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People cracking their knuckles every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
People eating ice loudly or smacking on food. People warming up disgusting smelling food and bringing it back to the desk instead of I'm going to stop.
No one knowing how to properly cook a bag of fucking popcorn and burning it every fucking time to the point where they had to make a rule that people couldn't cook popcorn in the department.
Yep.
I had that happen in 2 departments. They couldn't cook popcorn because every time somebody would, like, either they'd burn it or they'd forget it and it would burn. And it would just smell so bad because burned popcorn is one of the worst fucking smells in the world.
Old ketchup's pretty bad too.
Yeah. Or somebody's like sitting there like, oh, I'm gonna heat up this fucking chitlins and fish or something, and collard greens, and it's just like, oh god, why are you eating a bowl of dog shit? It smells horrible. Get that out of here.
Don't you realize that's going to come out of your armpits in a couple of hours, and then we're going to smell that too?
Or I remember we had this old woman who she was really super nice. She never really said anything to anybody about anything. But she had really bad asthma. And there used to be this janitor guy that would come through. And I swear to God, this motherfucker, you go down to the flea market and get the cheapest, most horrible smelling cologne by the gallon and bathe in it. And he'd walk...
You leave English leather cologne alone.
This guy, it was so horrible. So this guy he wouldn't even be walking through the department, but people would be sitting there typing, and all of a sudden you see somebody look up and like they smell him coming. Like, oh shit, he's here today, and you just see him suddenly walk in the room. That's how strong he was. And they finally had to get management to talk to him because every time he'd walk through the section, this old woman started going like gagging because she couldn't breathe. It was so strong.
Man,
fuck working in an office. It's like a paid prison.
And you know that guy was probably like, well, fine. They're just going to smell my balls and armpits.
Well,
see how they like that?
He used to come in and flirt with all the young girls. Like, he was an old man, too. And I think he thought he was being smooth, smelling all good. And they used to always talk about how horrible he smelled.
High karate.
High
Canoe. What are some other old ones?
One of the girls used to call him Uncle Junebug. She's like, he smells like that uncle you got that no one likes. And then you always ask your mom, why does he smell bad?
Uncle Junebug.
Uncle Junebug. Because she'd be like, uh-oh, Uncle Junebug's here. And everybody'd be like, God damn it. Because he knew who she was talking about.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well.
So, yeah. The next time that you show up to your job and you're like, oh, I don't want to have to restock the paper and the cash register receipts. Remember, you're not in the Battle of Tiffany Tucoff. It will go down in the history books. 2015, the year of the Battle of Tiffany Tucoff.
So, like, there are times, like, I mean, the job I do now is pretty laid back. It's all based on research and stuff for school, but there are times where what I'm doing, I'm like, God, this is so annoying. I hate this. But then I always think back to that job, and when I work retail, and I'm like, nah, not that bad. I mean,
isn't that a
good.
Great gift
Yeah.
that you give to yourself? It's like, this is nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I need to shut up right now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's literally what will happen is I'll just look back and I'm like, nope, not that bad. And then sometimes I get lucky with stuff. Like, I don't have a funded job in the summer, so like the grant I'm on doesn't pay for June or July. So I could just choose not to work, but I don't get paid, or I can go get like a part-time job. Well, I just had some professor I know say, hey, I have extra money for the summer and I have to use it by a certain point. Do you want it? Where are the cameras? Is this a joke?
Yeah.
It's not April 1st yet. You're early. He's like, no, I have to use it by next year or it's just gone. He's like, and I'd rather it just go to somebody who's going to take classes or is just going to do something than it just go back to the school and not be used. I was like, well, yeah, I'll take it. He's like, well, let me just make sure it's okay. He's like, I don't think it's a problem. I was like, shit, yeah. So stuff like that will randomly happen with me. But then, like, I told him, I was like, even if you want to give me that money to come and clean your office once a week, I would take it. I mean, because no matter what you wanted me to do, it would not compare to the shitty fucking stuff I had to do at my other jobs. So, like, I don't miss not having to deal with people. That's another thing.
To bring this up on a high note so people aren't thinking about war and death, did you pull any pranks this year for April Fools, either of you?
No.
The only
I forgot it existed until I got on the internet, and I was like, oh, April Fool's jokes.
Yep.
I just told everybody on my Facebook page that I loved them, and then I said, April Fools, you're all shit bricks. That was it.
Iron Sheik always has the greatest one. It's like, Justin Bieber, biggest penis in world. The April Fools, fuck Justin Bieber.
He's so great. Oh, man.
I got one of my coworkers who actually listens to this. Thank you, Bethany. Twice. Because before she got, I've been working an hour earlier than I normally do. So I got there. I was like, they're not going to be at their computers. So on her computer, I unplugged the mouse and the keyboard from the back. So when she got in, she couldn't turn on her computer and fucking do anything. That was number one. But I also brought in a bunch of donuts. But two of the donuts, which a couple of people in my section love, look exactly like the same one they hate.
Oh, those cream-filled ones?
They love the Bavarian cream donut from Dunkin' Donuts. So I told them, I got some Bavarian cream donuts for you guys. They're right next to the chocolate frosted cakes. So they go in there and they pull them out. And I hear,
They're custard. They were custard filled, weren't they? Like that nasty, gooey custard.
no, it was lemon.
Oh, that'd have been.
It was
okay.
lemon.
I could handle that.
So you're expecting like a delicious sugary pudding.
That's your problem right there, is expecting one thing, getting something else.
Yes.
Even Sprite and water will do that to you. Both are fine, but getting the wrong one is not.
And the other person who got it was the person who sits across from me. And she has just made it so great because she has been the most... She's given me so much publicity. She said, let me tell you what this little motherfucker did. I bit into the Bavarian cream donut, and I'll be goddamned if it wasn't fucking lemon.
Wait, is this the same person who chased you around in the chair?
No, that was the one that I unplugged her cord.
Oh, okay.
No, this woman is just, she's a handful. The only reason she hasn't been to HR is because everybody's scared of her.
Oh, those are the best too. The ones where
She's like the mountain that walks
the mountain that
in
rides.
the office.
The mountain that rides.
The mountain that rolls.
Sits.
The mountain that rolls.
Rolls around in the chair.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And one of my friends who works like 3 sections over was like, dude, I don't know what you did yesterday, but this woman's been telling everybody about how evil you are because of this lemon donut. And inside I'm like, yes.
Just wait. She's probably planning something horrible for you.
I'll totally take it. I love it. It's like when you get into a fight, you can't throw a punch unless you expect a punch. So you take some of those punches and you go, this is what I signed up for.
See, that's one thing too when you do work in an office is that you can do stuff like that. Like, because you have the same group of people you're always around, you get to know them, you kind of get to know your quirks. Like, that's not something that I have in academia. It's like I know people and I know them well, but I don't know them well enough to do stuff like that. You know, like maybe if I had an office mate or something, or I actually had a fucking office, I might, but still, usually most people are so busy that just the littlest thing like that, it's like, seriously, I don't have fucking time for this. That's what you're going to get. You might get maybe like a ha ha ha, but they're just going to ignore it and keep going because they just don't have time to deal with it.
Just so you know, I misheard you until my brain corrected. I thought you said you had an office maid, and I'm just imagining this woman in there just cleaning the office for you. This is my office maid.
That would be awesome.
What kind of fucking school are you in?
Well, it would actually need to be more of like one of the maids from like one of those Japanese cafes just hanging around. Whenever I meet somebody, just tell her she does it.
You get the tsundere one. She knocks the shit off the... Hey, there you go. Clean your desk off.
I probably would get the tsundere one. Or what's the one that... Yeah, because that's like the mean one that like will just fuck your shit up. Yeah, I would get that one. Or I'd get the what's like the super apathetic one.
Oh, like Ray from Evangelion?
Yeah.
Just sits there?
Yeah, I would get that one. The one
Yandere? No, that's the crazy one.
I think they're called
Kudere?
Yeah,
I think
that's
what
what
it
I would
is.
either get like the tsundere, which would just come in and fuck my shit up, or I'd get that one, which like I'm sitting there working, like she's just sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, I can't fucking focus. So this is one of the things, and I know some people do this, like when they're working on papers or studying, like they'll study in a group, and they might not all even be studying the same thing, but they're all just kind of sitting around a table doing their own thing. I can't do that because if I am with the group, my first thought is like, I want to fucking talk. Let's hang out. I mean, when we hang out and study, I'd rather go study by myself because I can focus more and I can do what I need to rather than suddenly be like, want to talk to you or ask you something or see what you're doing. I've never understood that. And so, like, I know if I had somebody like that in an office, it would just, nothing would get done.
That's why I wear headphones all day. Because I suffer from the same thing. And let me tell you, one of the main pivotal points in where I realized I needed headphones was the day that all the women decided to get colonics together.
What the fuck?
So they're just all talking about fiber cleanse and shitting in these tubes. And I said, I wasn't planning on listening to Steve Austin's podcast today at work, but I am now. And then I
No, Evan, I won't have any of your misogyny. Those women were just sitting around wanting to shoot the shit, and you're going to keep
Shane, I'll have you know that I didn't touch any of their shoulders, and I didn't use my elbow on their back at all. There was no misogyny in any.
You know what you should have brought up? You're like, well, if y'all are going to go for the colonics, you should probably go for the other side and get some steam blasted up your cooches.
There you go. You get some steam cleaning
Nice
going
call
on.
back.
Get some steam cleanings. Some steamed clams or something. I don't know.
Hot steam up their cooch.
So, I actually mentioned that to some women, and they were like, they all seem very receptive to getting that done, which blows my mind. But whatever.
You know what it blows on them?
Oh man, but yeah, like I don't know, man. Working in an office, there are so many things. The things I do remember. It's not anything that has to do with the work. It has to do with like shit people did. All the things that I hate had to usually do with shit people did too. Truthfully,
Well, people fuck everything up.
yeah,
That's
true.
the thing.
That is a proven fact.
Let me tell you something that I love about my job. One of my coworkers makes puns almost as much as I do, so it's like a brand new gift wrapped for me every day when I go to work. And we've also, on the other side of bodily excretions, have come up with the sneeze game. Because some people there have the most ridiculous sneezes possible. Yeah. Like, they'll act like they're trying to hold in their sneeze, but they do it every day, so they're not fucking fooling anybody. So it'll be like, achoo. So of course we've tried to out-sneeze them. And the lady who sits across from me, she has a pretty deep voice, and she's a big lady, but she sneezes like this. So it's like, you know what we have to do? We have to beat them in their own game. So she goes for the more cutesy, cartoony, like Pikachu sneezes, like choo 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 choo. And I'm waiting for the day because I know that I want it so bad that it doesn't show up, so I have to want it less. Mm-hmm. For the day when it shows up, I'm gonna let out the most ridiculous chainsaw Tasmanian devil spray sneeze that anybody has ever heard. There's a woman who sounds like she's getting her yellow belt at the other end of the section. She's like, "Hey!"
That's fucking fantastic.
See, I don't sneeze often, but I remember one time I sneezed there, and like when I do sneeze, it's like boom. It's like I used to say like it felt like my face was trying to escape. That's how hard I sneeze when I do sneeze. And I'll never forget one time I was sitting there, and I'm completely fucking quiet, dead silent. Everybody else is kind of talking. I'm doing my work, and they're getting kind of loud as they're joking, and I sneeze. Fucking supervisor comes over to me and says, Kyle, you need to keep it down. I looked at her. Oh my God. I looked at her and I went, Wendy, you don't even know what you were talking about. I sneezed. It's them down there talking. I almost said, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but she's like, well.
You got your name because of my sneeze, okay? Wendy?
Oh man.
That's so ridiculous.
I'm pretty good at precisely figuring out what something also sounds like. There's this one woman who, when she sneezes, this is going to sound ridiculous, but you have to believe me.
God.
It sounds like somebody dropping a cardboard box full of loose leaf papers and T-shirts. And it's exactly what her sneeze sounds like. So I was like, think about how the rustling of the paper and the fabric rubbing against the paper and the clunk of the box. And she said, I'll be goddamn, that is what it sounds like. I said, I know. I know it in my heart.
You know, I will say this, is that like, when I worked in a bookstore and when I worked there where you work, I did sneeze a lot more. And a lot of it has to do with like the dust that comes from paper. And there's so much, especially in a bookstore, and people moving and stirring it all up, that like you just tend to sneeze a lot more because of it. You know?
And the moldy ass carpet that we have that never gets
Oh,
cleaned.
Jesus Christ.
Every time I see somebody walk around without the shoes on, I'm like, you're going to get ringworm that hasn't even been invented yet.
Yeah. When I used to see people without their shoes on, I would basically do like the, like, draw back and like, oh, like point my finger at them in complete horror and shock. I was like, why don't you just step in dog shit and just drag it with you? Because it would be cleaner. Because, you know, at least the dog shit only came from one dog's ass. You don't know what all's been on this floor.
Yeah.
Plus staples.
And then you say...
I would just see people pull staples out of paper and just throw it on the floor and then watch people walk.
And Kyle would say to them, I haven't seen you since the Girl Talk show in Atlanta.
Oh, God.
Where you walked into the bathroom without your shoes on.
I forgot all about that till you said it. I'll never... What I remember more than that was the reaction from everybody in the line when they realized she didn't have shoes on. It was just like... It would have been like if she was standing in the middle of a stadium and just took a shit. And everybody in the stadium was horrified at her. All these people just see her step out of that porta potty with no shoes on, and it's just like, oh my God. It's like, pull back. And some of these are probably people that ain't bathed in weeks.
Yeah.
But they're horrified.
Oh my God, Becky, look at her foot. It's like, bear.
There is no amount of pedicure that will ever fix what has happened. What hath been wrought can nay be recovered.
Oh my God. Man.
So tell us about the problems of... Never mind, Shane.
What? Were you trying to segue into his last story and just couldn't figure out how to do it?
Yes.
You suck. I almost did it earlier, but people kept talking. I was like, so tell us about boxes of clothes, Kyle.
Yes.
Boxes of clothes. So...
Yes.
Most people out there probably know stuff like Loot Crate, where you basically sign up and every month they send you
a loot in a crate, and you gotta learn to play it.
Yeah, basically. They send you like a box of some kind of geeky stuff, like if it's Star Trek stuff one month, or maybe it's comic book related stuff another month, and things like that. So there's a bunch of different types of Loot Crate-esque companies. Some of them are for shaving products, and some of them are for like health food stuff. Well, they have these ones for clothes now, and first off, I hate shopping for clothes, and it's not because like the biggest reason is because I always feel like I don't like what I'm getting is gonna look dumb. Like I don't really have any good fashion sense. I wear t-shirt and jeans most of the time. I don't really like buying clothes. I don't have a problem wearing nicer clothes. I just don't like to buy them. But these sites are designed so like you sign up for it. They give you like a personal shopper and stylist, and they call you and talk to you, get a sense of your style, and then they make a box for you and send it to you. You don't pay anything up front for most of them. You don't pay until you send everything back, and then whatever you kept out of the box is what you pay for. So it's kind of cool because you could get a box full of clothes, decide you don't want any of it, send it back, and you don't lose any money. Or you get a box full of clothes and decide you want to keep all of it and just pay for that. So I signed up for one of these called Trunk Club. And I talked to the stylist, and I tell her, hey, I'm a simple guy, t-shirt and jeans. Okay, I'm not really big into fancy clothes. So I don't really like button-ups or flannels or anything kind of like that. She's like, but how about polos? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with that. If it's like a nice shirt, that's cool. I was like, another thing to remember is I live in Georgia. It's already 80 degrees and fucking miserable. I need like skin light clothing. I don't want like heavy pairs of jeans and stuff. Not now. That's something I wouldn't get again until like September or October. Oh, okay, cool. So I'll package one and send it to you. Okay, so also I'm a grad student, so I don't have a lot of money. So try to keep to the cheaper end of these things. She's like, okay, cool. So I got my trunk yesterday. I opened it up. there are like 15 items in there. The total price for all items added up was over $3,000.
That's a fucking used car.
I know, right? So she sent me a box full of used, like full of used car parts. And I was like, holy shit.
They're what was in the trunk. That's what's called the trunk club.
But it was like
well done.
$3,000 worth of clothes. I don't think my entire wardrobe I own right now is worth $3,000. I'd be surprised if it's worth $1,000. It's probably not even worth $500.
Yeah.
And like $200 is a suit that I own. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. But I go through it and I'm looking and I'm like, I open it. I'm like, what? It's a bunch of fucking flannel button-up shirts and jeans. I'm like, that's not exactly
April Fools!
It's exactly what I said not to fucking send me. You know, I ended up keeping, like, there were 2 pairs of shorts in there that I liked, and I ended up keeping those. But everything else I sent back. And, like, you can do this feedback on the site, and the feedback was, she didn't listen to what I said. I said, I don't wear flannel button-up shirts. It's too hot to wear that kind of stuff this time of year. I want thinner, lighter clothes. And I just sent it all back. And I was just like, you know what? This is right here. When people talk about women don't listen, like, yes, we do. No, you don't. I fucking said it twice, and I typed it in an email to her, too, when she wanted that. I was like, I've got 3 different ways I've told you, but you didn't listen to me. You basically sent me what you wanted me to have, not what I wanted.
Kyle, you're looking at this all wrong. As a man who's lived with a woman for the past couple months, let me tell you, she heard what your heart said. Your heart said, I want to wear what you want me to wear, but I also want to be comfortable. So she sent you the thinnest flannel she could find.
That shit was not thin.
Thinnest jeans she could find because she knew that's what you wanted her to see you in.
Also, I didn't put on the jeans, and I told her I like relaxed fit clothing. I'm pretty sure the jeans are skinny jeans.
So when you put them
I
on,
didn't put them
you
on
just
because I
became
looked at
stressed
them. I'm
out.
like, that shit looks tight as fuck. I'm not putting that on.
That's not like the common vernacular of saying that those are cool-looking jeans.
No, it was like, those are so tight that you would see my package. And if I farted, you would see the bubble roll down my leg.
You would be practicing praying mantis kung fu because your balls would go up into your stomach.
Yeah. But I mean,
That's
like,
pretty
that. If we were fucking, that's cool. She can buy what she wants me to wear. I mean, then it's whatever makes you happy. But we're not.
Yeah.
So listen.
Until she sees you in
So-
those clothes.
So let me see what you've told me here. Basically, you've just made the stupidest mistake a man would ever make.
Okay.
You're like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get this woman to shop for me that I'm not dating. And so I'm just going to wear whatever she gets me. So you don't have a relationship. You're getting nothing out of it. And you still have to deal with the fucking shopping experience. What the fuck is wrong with you, Kyle?
Well, so
And you're paying for it, too.
Are you still on those pain pills?
no, actually. No, I have some for sale if anybody's interested. I got to pay for these fucking clothes I just bought. It was
my clothing habit.
I'm not gonna lie. These are probably the most expensive shorts I've ever bought. They feel damn good though. I'm not. That's the one thing. But these shorts are probably worth like 5 shirts that I have in my closet. But the thing is that I told her what I wanted. I said, this is the kind of stuff I want. You choose stuff that fits into this bubble of clothing. And it wasn't like I was like, oh, just go to town, whatever. You know, I was like, I want stuff that's made for hot weather, that's thin, and I don't want this type of stuff. And yes, polos are fine. What does she do? She gets me shit that's not made for this kind of weather, stuff that is flannel and button up, no fucking polos, and shit that's fucking expensive. She basically was like, oh, he wants all this? Well, you know what? Let's take the inverse. Fuck him, and this is what he gets. Deal, motherfucker. I just imagine her like DX crotch chopping the box as it went, as he got on the UPS truck. Like, fuck you. But I signed up for, so like there's a lot. There's actually I didn't know this. There's actually several sites like this. There's another one that's called Men's Style Lab, which is they're basically everybody's like, yeah, they're a lot cheaper. Like they actually and their clothes are meant for normal guys. Like supposedly, as I was reading a lot of reviews of Trunk Club, they're like, yeah, basically it's like these are catering to like hipsters and people who are like high-end professionals, even though they say they're not, they are. Like they send you a $300 fucking button-up shirt. They're only catering to a certain group of person.
That actually explains
dumbasses.
something.
Yeah.
Because you said that, yeah, these other ones for normal guys. Well, that's the problem. You signed up with service for abnormal people. It's like
Yeah.
most normal people, when they ask for something, expect to get something close to what they asked for. Abnormal people get something completely different. They're fine with it.
I
Yes.
actually wonder if I would have said something like, what I want is a lot of button-ups that are flannel, really hot and heavy clothing, and I want it to be as expensive as you can fucking get it. If I'd have got like a box full of a bunch of cheap T-shirts and jeans, I'd be like, sweet. So,
Now, there's also another error that we're not looking at. She could have actually been a hipster, and she could have been so drunk on Pabst Blue Ribbon that she typed all of your answers in the wrong
really
box.
deceptive because she was super nice when I spoke with her, like overly nice. Like
She's probably drunk.
yeah.
No, she was actually just evil. She actually started this website just to fuck with people. She's actually the owner, and she's just like, I take whatever they tell me, and I give them the opposite of it.
It's a tsundere company.
It is a secret company. There, that's what you need.
I'll have to give you a follow-up on the other one because I'm supposed to speak with one of their people on Monday, kind of like what kind of style I'm looking for and stuff. So I'll see, like, then they'll send me a box, so I'll let you know if they actually can follow fucking directions.
Dude, you should, just to have a little fun, you should find on YouTube a really good funk track from the 70s, and when you call in, just be like, I'm having post-traumatic stress disorder from this experience as a customer, so you're gonna have to talk to my handler, and then just start playing like that. And then it's like, give me that motherfucking phone.
Mm-hmm.
Listen up, motherfucker. When he says no flannels, the motherfucker don't mean extra flannels. So unless you want me to come down there, Jack, and show your jaw to the state of Texas, you better put some T-shirts in there.
And I even looked at a couple of the button-up shirts in there because I was like, some of them I liked the way they looked, but I was just like, nah, I don't like I didn't like them because they were heavy. They were like super heavy. I'm like, I'm not gonna wear that in fucking Georgia in the summer. I was like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, and then I was like, where are these people from? Like, oh, they're Chicago. It's still fucking cold up there. I was like, when I tell them it's warming up here, they probably don't realize, like, I had to turn on the AC yesterday because it actually got so hot in my fucking apartment.
That's a very valid point.
So
they could just be ignorant of Georgia's tormenting weather.
Yep.
That's true. If they've never been
That
here.
is, people. I warn people, like when I meet with prospective students in the past, I've warned them, hey, I know you're from Wisconsin, and you're not used to this kind of heat, and you're here in like March and we just actually had some kind of weird cold snap that happened.
Oh, it was nice. It was so
I was
nice.
like, but if you're here in July and August, it is like the fucking devil's ball sack.
It smells like it.
It does. I was like, it is horrible and it is miserable. I was like, I've gotten so used to it though that like I just, oh yeah, whatever. Oh, I just got out of the shower and I'm sweating already. Cool. Welcome to Georgia.
That's the fucking worst.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like you just open the door. Like I told somebody, it's like the best way to describe it is like you're inside, you feel really comfortable. You open the door and the moment the air hits you, you feel like you're swimming.
Yeah, you do.
Because it's so wet and heavy, and like you just start pouring with sweat, and it doesn't matter what you do. It's not like when you go to Arizona or Nevada or somewhere out west where it's like, oh, it's so hot, but when I'm in the shade, it's not that bad. It's like, I'm in the shade, yeah, it's still fucking horrible. It doesn't change because it's the air. It just holds the heat, and it's nasty and disgusting, and there's bugs. Fuck this place. In the summer, it's so horrible. And people don't believe you, but when it happens, they're like, man, you're right. I'm like, I told you. I've lived here 30 years. Of course I fucking know what it's like around here.
It's like alien abduction. They think you're crazy until it happens to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until they're the ones who put on a t-shirt that's soaking wet for no reason, and they just can't figure it out. Turns out it was the air.
Yeah.
It's like, have you had any glasses of water today? Oh, no, I just stepped outside, got plenty of water, just breathed it in.
Yeah.
This time of year is bad, too. Like, one of them was like, I know you said there's a lot of pollen, but this is horrible. I was like, in Athens, this is the worst I've seen it. Like, down in Macon, oh, man, it's just like trees just jerking off on everything. It's just fucking trees come all over the place.
Bukkake. Tree bukkake season is what I call it.
It's horrible down there, I know, but up here it's been really bad. I washed my car yesterday, and like driving down the road when I got home, it was yellow. It didn't even matter.
Bamboo cocky, if you will.
Bamboo cocky.
Bamboo cocky.
Google that. Let us know what you find, because I'm not going to Google it.
I'm sure it's on that fucking search list that you talked about like 18 episodes ago.
The porn MD, what's currently being searched.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I wonder, like, I think part of the reason it's so bad making is because of the
trees.
Well, the cherry blossom trees, which aren't native, they all brought in there. I think they basically cause so much more pollen, and you just pray for rain.
You're fucking saying because of the Japanese, there's more bukkake here.
No,
that's what you're saying.
You xenophobe.
I'm saying because the 3 business people in Macon who wanted Macon to have some kind of festival went and bought all those trees in Japan and brought them to Macon. That's why. It's not the Japanese fault. It's those business people's fault.
It's usually the fucking pine trees, as you can see, letting loose clouds of yellow pollen every time something moves.
And we pine about it.
Yeah, that's the worst part is when it's dry. Like, if it's raining a lot, it's not that bad because it keeps it out of the air and washes it away. But when it's not raining, I remember one year, I think it was about 5 years ago now, standing on a golf course on Easter, so basically tomorrow, standing on a golf course with the pine trees. The wind hits the pine trees, and it looked like a scene out of fucking Iraq, where it's just like a yellow dust cloud just sweeps across the fucking golf course, and you could not see more than 5 feet in front of you. It was so thick. And, like, I mean, what do you do at that point? I mean, close your, you basically just don't clench. I mean, it's all you can do. It's crazy. Like, I don't have bad allergies. I mean, I'll sneeze if there's a lot of it, but I'm not like some people where it's like their eyes are pouring with water and they're like head colds and they can't breathe. I just don't know how they function.
Poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a lot of Claritin. Do either of you have allergies with it?
Nope.
I used to have it really bad, but since I started exercising pretty regularly, I don't know if it's because I'm exposing myself to it more or if my body's just in better health, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
I know people who've lived in Georgia and Macon and had to deal with it and then moved away, and they're just like, oh my God, it's so dramatically different. Like, they used to have horrible, horrible allergies, but then they moved out west, and, like, they don't anymore.
That's how asthma was with me, because it nearly killed me in 7th grade. Like, I was bedridden and on machines and all kinds of shit. And then it was just like, all right, I'm done, see ya. And that's it. Sometimes shit just goes away.
Yeah, I remember a guy used to in one of the big comic shops in Macon, when he moved out west, he said the first thing that happened was that he had a lot of nosebleeds. But that's because the air's so much drier that he had to get used to that. But after that, that was it. No more problems. No allergies, no nothing. Even his, like, rheumatoid arthritis didn't act up anymore because the humidity wasn't around, which makes it bad. So...
Yeah, but at what cost?
Living in Utah.
I'll tell you what cost.
Mormons.
Nope. No more crystals.
Oh.
Do they have White Castle?
Did you see that picture that he posted where he had a whole tray full of crystals and he was eating it? I was like, that's a fucking happy man right there.
I used to have family when they would come up from Florida. We would say, where do you want to go out to eat, Crystals? And they would just, like, get, like, there'd be 4 of them. They would each get a sack full. And then before they leave, they would buy, like, 2 sackfuls to eat on the way back home.
Dude, side story. When I went to Indiana, I always fuck that up. When I went there, I actually got to enjoy a White Castle. And let me tell you, they're slightly larger than crystals, but they taste exactly the same.
Yeah, there's no real difference.
There is a difference, however, in 2 things. Number 1, you can buy cheese sticks there, which is great. Number 2, they have crinkle-cut French fries. That wins on its own merits. Because crinkle-cut French fries completely surpass the soggy shit noodles that Crystal sells here.
Yeah, like, and the other thing with Crystal fries is, like, God damn, they're so fucking salty. It's like you eat them and your mouth is like, your lips are chapped afterwards. And heaven forbid if they were chapped before, because it burns to eat those fries. There's so much salt on them.
Now, they had those fucking amazing seasoned waffle fries for like 3 months, and then they got rid of them.
Of course.
Fucking assholes. Also, I found out that Jack in the Box uses the exact same curly fries that Arby's does, which was a little bit of a letdown. Because I only like those curly fries for about half the serving size, and then I'm like, this is fucking disgusting. And you burp them for the rest of the day.
I never really was impressed with the few times I had Jack in the Box. I didn't see the big deal. I mean, it's like a big staple in some areas. Like I know out west it's a big thing, but like when I ate there for the first time when I was in Vegas once, I was like, this is like McDonald's but worse. I mean, it's not even good. I mean, I'm not saying McDonald's is good, but I'm just saying it's bad. It's just not even. I don't know.
The one good thing they had was iced coffee. It was super creamy, and I think it had a little bit of vanilla in it. I drank that shit in like, I had one little straw sipful, and that was it. I was like, okay, I'm not even going to breathe between this next engulfing.
How's that different than how you normally drink iced coffee? Like we'll go to conventions, and Evan's like, I want to get an iced coffee, and he doesn't get like a small or a medium. He gets like the biggest one they have, and it's just like I'm still here sipping on mine like moments after getting it. Evan got his, and he's already done with throwing it away. I'm like, what? That was less than 5 minutes. Oh yeah, I was just thirsty. She drank the whole thing.
Well, see, that's why I took the sip first, because I didn't know if it was going to be one where I could just down it. Because sometimes, like, McDonald's, they can either make it really good or really shit. Because sometimes they won't even fucking put sugar in it. So you're just drinking bitter coffee. So, unless you just want to...
Go ahead and drink me if you got to.
Exactly. Shane shared a story many years ago of the benefit of learning to throw away the expensive drink. If you could summarize that, please tell our listeners.
I'm sure they've heard it before, but it doesn't matter how much you paid for whatever your drink is. If you paid $40 for a drink and it's terrible, drinking it because you paid $40 for it just adds to your misery, because it's not like if you finish it they give you your money back. So if it's terrible, just throw it away.
See, yeah, and I agree. I'm not. That's a problem I have. Like if I go somewhere and I get like you'll see people do this all the time when they go to a bar, and they'll be like, "Give me some kind of drink," and they'll make it, and then you'll say, "How was it?" It wasn't that good. They drank the whole goddamn thing though, and that's like, why don't you tell them? So like, hey, this isn't good. Most places would probably remake it, unless they sucked, and then it's just like whatever, just deal with it. But I think it's one of those things like I paid the money, I might as well drink it. Or I might as well eat it. I do that like if I go to a restaurant, it's like, it's okay. You know, and some of this because I don't want to be the asshole that tells them, no, this is bad, you need to take it back. Because I'm not saying they're spitting in my food, but they might be rubbing their dick on it. And that's what I don't want. That's why I don't go out to eat with certain people, because they don't know how to act to your servers. And I'm like, they're going to spit in all our food because you're an asshole. You know who you are.
If you think you have a trigger, let me tell you, Sierra is terrified. Like if I get a hamburger and it's got onions on it, it's like, I asked for this without onions. Can I have one without onions, please? And she'll be like, what have you done? I hope you enjoy your spit burger, because you're going to be putting somebody else's spit on my lips when you kiss me later, because you should have just ate the onion burger.
Oh, no. I'd be like, fuck, you know what? Give me a burger with nothing but spit on it, but I'm eating these goddamn onions.
And I'm going to look you right in the eyes while I take that spit in. And then I, in my error, become Tiffany Tukoff.
See, I'm not too picky when it comes to stuff like that. Like when they bring it out, you know, like I don't give them crazy orders, and part of it's because it just seems like it's like no onions isn't a crazy order. But I've seen people do things like, oh, could I get that with, you know, I want this bacon cheeseburger that comes with all this stuff, but can I get that with like the bacon cooked a certain way, but I don't want you to put the cheese on until the very last minute, and could you also bring me like a thing of garlic salt to go with it? And it's just like, well, fuck it, you should have stayed home and cooked. This ain't Burger King, you can't have your fucking way. You know? And it's,
or they'll just be like, I want to order fries cooked with no salt. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
No, see, that's the trick. Some people want it with no salt. Some people just want fresh French fries. Because I know people who do that. They're like, yeah, let me get that with no salt. Because all the ones already have salt. So it's like, gotta cook new fries. I get them fresh.
True story. When I used to be like, when I eat Crystal all the time, I used to always get double cheese Crystals at night. Because I would go late at night. They didn't keep those on the burner. They have to make those. Like, but if you went in there's like, I want Crystals, they fucking got those sitting under that heat lamp all night. Unless you tell them I don't want something on it. And 9 times out of 10, they're probably just pulling it off. I don't want pickles. Okay.
I always order no onions.
Yeah, that's hard to pull off. But I used to say double cheese Crystals because they had to cook them, so they'd be fresh.
Crystals is the only place that most places I'm like, why don't you just not put the onions on there in the first place? With Crystals though, that place is closed down, so it doesn't matter. Once over there on Vineville, managed to get crystals cooked with no onions.
Isn't that a great experience?
No, it's terrible.
Really?
Yes, no. See, what you're doing is you're getting them with the stuff, the onions, and they're taking the onions off. That's what they're doing when you get them.
So you still get the flavor.
You still get the flavor. Without the flavor, it's just fucking a waste. You're just paying for a little tiny square of meat that doesn't taste like a crystal. It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's like, I'll say, because she told me, it's like, there's a policy that we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to cook them without the onions. But I'll do it this time. And then after I'm like, I apologize for making you violate your policy because I was wrong in this case.
Well, it's because, like, it's not really meat. I mean, there's, like, a percentage that's meat, but it's some kind of soy product, and all the flavor comes from the onions and the pickle and the mustard they put on there.
It does.
All right, this show's gone a little long, but it's okay because we haven't been around for a while. But I want to conclude with the story of the greatest hamburger I had about a week ago.
Oh.
Yes.
My life has been redefined by this. Like, I can't look at a hamburger the same way again. Like, it changed me. Like, that night, I was a different man walking out of that restaurant. And I'd heard stories about this hamburger from people, and they were like, "You're gonna have that, and you just are gonna be different. It's just you can't, you do not understand." I'm like, "It can't be that big a deal." They were right.
I'm getting tears in my
So
eyes.
there's a place here in Athens. It's called Catch 22. It's what they call a gastro pub, and they have all these weird kind of hamburger type, things they do, and it's all kind of this catchy type of food. I'd heard a story of the Porknado. Now let me tell you about the Porknado. The Porknado is a hamburger that has bacon on it. It also has pulled pork on it. It also has bacon jam on it and bacon mayonnaise as well. This thing is massive. It comes out and there's fries too. And no, actually I had something else. And then we had an appetizer beforehand. I have never eaten something that I had to take breaks during it because my body is just slow down, dude. We cannot process this. And I'm like, I take a bite and I'm just like, oh my God, I just gotta wait a minute. And another guy with us, he's eating one too, and we're both just like, oh man, this is I usually eat my food fairly quick. I think it took me 45 minutes to eat what I ate of it, and I didn't even finish it. I didn't even eat anything else. That's all I had.
With all that fucking pork, your heart's probably like, holy shit, guys, it's the end of the
Hey, my
world.
toilet thought that the next day.
Oh.
But it was so good. People talk about, getting the itis and being tired afterwards. I had I was euphoric. I felt like I had some kind of runner's high. I just run a marathon, a food marathon, and I was just and I remember I went, I got brought back to my apartment, and then some other friends were like, hey, you want to come downtown? I'm like, you gotta give me a minute. I've got to pace myself. And I ended up meeting up with some people at Waffle House, and they were eating. I was just like, this isn't food you're eating. You have not eaten. You do not understand the level of what real food is at this point. You must eat the Porknado. And then I told...
What you experienced, Kyle, is what the shaman call a small death.
I also told somebody, this is the most Christian meal ever, because it's oh, there's pork. Fuck you if you don't eat pork. Oh, there's beef. Fuck you if you don't eat beef. It's America, motherfucker. Boom! Just right on the plate. It was so fucking good. I mean, it was amazingly good.
Catch 22. I'm going to have to check that place out.
If you come to Athens, I will take you to Catch 22 so you can eat the Porknado. And you will be a new man afterwards.
It is not you that eats the Porknado. It's the Porknado that eats you.
You do not.
You merely become one.
You do not choose to eat the Porknado. The Porknado chooses you to eat it.
Porkachoo. I choose you, Porkachoo.
There was another sandwich they had, or burger, that was this chicken thing that was on a biscuit, and it was pickle brine chicken. And the guy who got it didn't know what that meant. I was like, basically you're getting Chick-fil-A chicken, because that's how Chick-fil-A makes their chicken, is they brine it in pickle juice. And he got it.
Oh, I thought you meant the guy's name was Pickle Brian who invented it.
Pickle Brian.
Pickle Brian, let me have one of your biscuits.
But so, yeah, he got it, and he's like, holy shit, this tastes exactly like a Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit. It's like, yep. I was like, and everything that we had there was amazing. So, but yeah, man, Porknado, life-altering experience. It could be because I came so close to death while eating it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking when I say, like, I've never paced myself when eating a meal, other than, like, oh, I'm taking time because we're kind of chilling out. But, like, I physically felt I had to, and, like, I was, like, breathing heavy, and, like, this is so heavy. I gotta finish it. Like, I feel like I'm really just letting everyone down, but I'm eating this whole thing. The other guy ate all his. I didn't. I was just like, no, I have to stop. My life is telling me that it can't take much more of this.
Do you think that possibly it could be better than the napkin head Orson Welles Bunkaroo?
Orson Welles Bunkaroo!
What's that shit called?
Or Colin Bunting.
I fucked that up.
You think it's better than Rolling Thunder? No, that was a good game.
Rolling Thunder is one of the greatest games. Yeah.
Oh man, yes, I do. I don't really think like I would totally eat it or Colin Bunting. Like we've had this conversation, but I don't really think it would be a good. It might taste good. I don't know. I don't think it would be as satisfying of a meal as after eating the Porknado. Because like it was fucking amazing. And like somebody asked me like bacon jam. What the fuck is that? I'm like, that's actually a thing. Like I've had that before on other biscuits, and it's like some scientist or wizard figured out how to turn bacon into a jam. I don't know. I'm not a fucking food magician.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning.
He's not just cooking up there. He's not just cooking. He's baking.
The bacon jam.
But man, whenever I tell people about that too, it's you get two reactions. It's either the like that sounds horrible, or the I need one of these. Where do you get this? How can I have one now? So, Porknado.
Where is that place located? Catch-22.
It's off of Epps Bridge in Athens.
Okay.
It's over. It's like not near downtown or campus. It's kind of actually technically Oconee, but it's good.
Is it like its own independent place, or is it a chain?
Oh, I think it's local. I don't think it's a chain. I'm almost 100% it's local. Because it's one of those places you go to and like they bring you the menu, and the menu for food is one side, and the menu for beer and alcohol is the other. So, but like even with like the menu being on the smaller side, I still, without after eating the Porknado, I would eat something else next time because it would just never be the same. But I would have a struggle to figure out what I wanted because there's so much stuff on there that sounded good. But if you're trying to eat healthy, then don't go there because there's nothing healthy on that fucking menu. Like even the water probably is unhealthy, I'm guessing.
That's the one thing I don't ever have to worry about. If you want to eat healthy, nope.
I go through spurts, but it's usually I try not to go too crazy into it because it's just one of those things like it's a marathon, not a sprint. If I go super into it, I'm sprinting and I'm going to burn out and then eat 2 pizzas one night and just say fuck it. But if I can pace myself, it's not too bad. Like eat fairly healthy with some kind of badness every now and then, it's all right.
Let me tell you, sometimes I worry about myself because yesterday we had, of course, at my job, as you know, there's always food there. There was an occasion to bring in food, and this girl brought in something called watermelon cupcakes. And I heard that, and I went, watermelon cupcakes sounds delightful. Well, it was just a hunk of watermelon cut into, like, a cylinder, like a cylindrical cupcake shape with, like, all these nuts on top of it, and, like, some kind of weird vegan whipped cream. I got mad.
I was just saying, I probably would have too, because I would expect to like a cupcake.
You know what we call that in where I'm from?
What?
A fucking lie. That's what the fuck. That's a fucking lie.
And I felt bad because the girl who makes it is so nice. She's always saying nice things to people, but every time she said, "Do you want some of the watermelon cupcakes?" Inside of me, I was like, "How fucking dare you use that?"
Did you at least try it?
No!
I would have at least tried it.
I'm not going to insult my stomach. My stomach would just punch me in the face. Like at one of those new Mortal Kombat fatalities, my stomach would come out of my mouth and beat me up until I'm dead and then go back into my stomach.
Yeah. Don't try to color code this as something prettier than what it really is. Just tell me you cut a piece of watermelon into a circle and drop some fucking vegan shit on top of it and try to be healthy.
It wasn't even a joke. It's not a cupcake.
No, it's not.
Exactly.
It was a lie.
It's my watermelon cake. It's my watermelon cupcake. No,
cake has a specific meaning.
Yes, it is. It is a delicious bread This is not a bread at all.
I thought it was going to be a watermelon flavored cupcake. That could have been interesting. But
Yes.
that's not what it is. Oh, sure. You know what? These are so good. I would like to give you this money. And you just hand her a bunch of cardboard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's money. I said it was. Look, I drew little dollar signs on it. See how that works?
Oh man.
I'll tell you what I ate instead. 4 donuts. And I fucking loved them. And she's like, are you sure you don't want any? I was like, I'm sure. I had 4 donuts. You know why they're donuts? Because they're made of dough.
You're like, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't want you shoveling your fucking lies into my mouth.
Yeah.
You just flip the table over.
Oh my god. I got a problem.
That's fantastic.
Oh man. Well, I think that's a good point. We should stop.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be another 7 months before we come back. So I almost started the outro. That's not my job.
All right, folks. Well, until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Evan.
In this day and age, when people are sad, we need comedy and fun and not getting offended. I am Shane, and I approve this.